What's up, everybody? This your boy King Hussle, and yes, this is the first episode of Call It What You Want, and we have a special guest, the man himself, Matthew Cox. And I've been searching this guy for a long time. The first time I seen him was on American Greed a couple years back, and he popped up on my screen on YouTube on an interview. I think it was Concrete. He did an interview with Concrete,
Yeah.
and when I seen the interview, I was like, "Isn't that guy I just seen on American Greed a couple years back?" So I did my research and his whole story is phenomenal from him starting as a fine art student and because it all boils down from him, his profession, his real profession, fine arts. He's a fantastic drawer, painter. He has a lot of paintings, but life is life. And during life, certain things happen. So today we're going to get into the story of Matthew Cox. And here he is today. So let's talk, Matthew. So let's start from the beginning. Where are you from?
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Let's learn you. Who is Matthew Cox?
Um, born in Tampa. I was who was Matthew Cox? Bro, what? I'm an artist. I grew up in Tampa. You know,
What got you into the real estate field?
I was dating a chick that was a stripper. I
Oh,
graduated school. I graduated with a degree in fine arts, and but I couldn't really do, as an artist. This was in the 90s. There was no way to make any money as an artist. Well, not for me anyway. And I wasn't willing to struggle. Like you go to art school
right.
and there are guys they're like 3-4 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
So your first passion is fine arts.
Yeah, I would say yeah, definitely. Well, what I'd like to do if I had an inexhaustible amount of money, I would probably, write. Probably
Movie
write.
scripts.
Just like synopses of true crime stories, guys' true crime stories.
So basically, you would write scripts and then have people act them out,
Well, I
or
wouldn't. That'd be like,
or just tell stories on YouTube or stuff like that.
no, I would just probably write. So,
Novels,
no, bro, give me a
books.
second. Okay, first of all, a novel is a work of fiction.
Hmm.
So you've got, novels are fiction. You have nonfiction categories. So no, I don't write novels. I write true crime. So what happens is take the movie, Saturday Night Fever or, American Gangster.
Ah,
Okay, American Gangster started out, it wasn't a book. American Gangster was what was a series of articles that were written. Somebody turned it into a screenplay. They made a movie. The movie Blow.
right.
Blow was a book. And that book turned into that was a true crime book, and that true crime book turned into Blow.
Oh,
So
okay.
so to me, what I want to do, like, did you ever see the movie Argo?
No, I haven't seen that one. I seen
Argo,
Blow though.
what?
I seen Blow. I haven't seen Argo.
No. So, there's tons of movies that they're basically just taken from articles, true crime articles. You read some article in, oh, I know one. The Anna Sorky story, the con woman, the chick from
Yeah,
came
yeah,
over from Russia.
yeah.
That started as a true crime article in Vanity Fair.
See, I didn't know that.
There was no
See,
book.
okay, now I understand what you're saying. Okay. So
What happens is you write an article or a synopsis, like a 8 or 9, like articles. True crime articles are between 5 to, let's say, 7 or 8,000 words in a magazine like Rolling Stone or something. Or you can write a synopsis, which is basically the same thing. It's like 9 or 10,000 words. It's not a book. It's like 30 pages. It's nothing.
just real quick,
Right.
and they just flip it to a movie.
Right. Somebody reads it and they go, wow, like this is like, I wrote one for a guy, a reporter named Guy Lawson, and it was these kids. We got them in Rolling Stone magazine.
Right.
And I just wrote a synopsis. I sent it to Guy Lawson. Guy Lawson put it in Rolling Stone magazine, and we optioned the film rights. Now it's going to become a movie. So, that's what I'd like to do. That or write books. Like I've written 6 or 7 books while I was locked up. So, I like that. I like painting. And I like art. I'm a creative person. So, but I ended up getting a degree in fine arts. and I couldn't really make a living doing it. And to be honest, I didn't even fucking try. I didn't make an effort. I didn't really make an effort because I didn't think, what am I going to do? I'm going to work a week on a painting and I'm going to sell it for $400 or $500. Like that's what I was selling paintings for, $300-400. And I couldn't live on that.
I mean, around that time it wasn't social media either, so it was
there was nothing like that.
It was really hard to get your painting out there.
Right. There was nothing like that. So, I started working construction jobs. That was not doing great, but I was making my bills, but barely. And then my girlfriend started working. She was a stripper and she ended up working. She was also in school. She got her degree and she started working in business. And she ended up working for a subprime lender, like a mortgage lender.
Right.
Doing mortgages. And she told me, you've got to do this. Like, you'd be great at this.
Right.
And so I started working there, and I very quickly started making, immediately, like the first month I closed like 4 loans. The next month it was 6, and then it was 8, and then it was 10, and then it was 12, and then they made me a manager. And then I opened my own place. After another 6 months or so, I opened my own place, and so I hired a bunch of guys, and it just took off.
Okay.
But I was committing fraud though. Part of a lot of the loans had fraud involved.
So what was the first? Because I watched a lot of your interviews. When did the fraud start? When was the first mistake when she did the whiteout and she changed that number?
It was me. I went in with my very first loan. I gave it to my manager to look at. She looked at it and she took one piece of paper out and she said, it's perfect except this one, the verification of rent. Your customer has been 30 days late on her rent in the last 24 months. So she had been late once by 30 days, not like a little late, like 30 days.
Whole month.
Right. And so as a result of that, you can't, no lender wants to lend money to this person.
Because of the late
no matter what the problem is. Like, you're not, So my manager told me, hey, if I was you, I would white it out, make a copy, and put it in the file. Nobody will ever figure it out. So I did that. I trusted her. I knew it was wrong. I mean, we had a discussion. It was fraud. But I also was like a couple payments behind on my car. I had a truck at the time, and they were going to take my truck. I mean, I'm behind on my, like, I'm behind. And I put everything on making this work. So I did that. And, 4 or 5 days later, the loan closed and I got a check for like $3,500.
Right. So what made you keep going though? What made you just say, was it the money? Was it the greed? Was it the excitement? Was it the life?
It was easy for me. Where everybody else, first it was easy because I could change the documents. So I could easily take a bank statement and alter it. Other people couldn't do that. I could change a W-2. I could, alter the documents that came in. I could figure out how to do these things. And then it became like, okay, well, this lender is actually going to call the employer and will verify how much money the person makes.
Right.
So I can't say this guy made $55,000 when he made $49,000.
Right.
So it was like, but he needs to make more money. So I need to show that he's getting a little bit more money in. And then I would go, you know what? So you have something called debt to income ratio, right? DTI.
DTI.
Right. So their debt to income has to be like below 36%.
Right.
Or 36 or below. So you would go, okay, well, wait a second. This person would qualify with their current income if they weren't making this $400 car payment every month.
Right.
So how do I prove that they don't make that car payment?
How can you get that exempt, get that out the way without showing up, right?
Right, because now they make enough money. So what happens is you call underwriting and say, hey, by the way, this guy didn't even make this car payment. And they say, well, it's in his name. And I go, oh, yeah, but his ex-wife makes it. And they go, okay, well, great. So, and I go, can I get her to write a letter? And they said that, no, we need to prove she's making that payment. So we need to prove that we need to see her canceled checks.
Right.
That she's been paying it. So it's like, well, fuck, how do I figure that out? So then I call my guy and I say,
it just boils everything, every step boils into something new.
Right. So what happens is he sends me his last 6 months canceled check. So that they go, look, we won't consider that against his DTI if his ex-wife is paying it, but we have to prove she's paying it. The way we prove that is we show the last 6 months payments. If she's the one paying it, then we agree, but we have to see the canceled checks. So I have him send me the canceled checks. I then change the name on the canceled check.
Okay. How did you change the name on the check?
Well, I mean, I cut and pasted it. Then I go in and I erase his name, redraw the line, and sign her name. So now it looks like it came out of her check. And I make copies front and back, and I send them to her and go, hey, look, and I write a letter from her. And then, then if they say, well, we got to call her, fuck. So now I got to get a cell phone. So I go get a cell phone. So when they call, it calls me.
Right. So don't mean to cut you off. Now, wasn't it an incident where you were actually in the bank and they called you and the phone rung?
Yeah, that was like years later. I did this for years. This is while I was still these were little things. I mean, this was little. This was before I started. Like what happened was it got to the point where anytime underwriting for the bank would say, hey, we need this.
Right.
I would think, I don't have that. Like, I don't have that. How can I trick them into believing that that's true, that I do have that's real? How do I fake a bank? They want to know this guy has $60,000 in the bank, or they're not going to get a loan. How do I do
that? And all that?
So I start making bank statements, and then you get to a bank that they say, well, we're going to call the bank statements on the bank. So I go, okay, well, that means they got to call me. So that means I got to make, from now on, I have to have my own bank. So now I have to design a bank website. I have to get a phone. So when they call the bank, I have to register the phone. I have to use a real bank routing number and bank number. I have to write the whole website. I have to get checks from the bank, my own bank, and I have to get bank statements so that I can dummy up all the bank statements.
Right.
Now you think that's a lot of work, but I only have to really do it once. Now I have my own bank. So this problem never comes up again. So you get to that point.
You were using the same bank and the same information for everyone. So they just call the same one.
No, because most people have their own, but most people don't have the same problem. So you might not make enough money on your W-2 job. The next guy, so I only have to fix your W-2s. The next guy, his problem may be he doesn't have enough money in the bank. Well, I've got a bank. The next guy, his problem might be that. So what happens is you keep getting these people, everybody's got a problem. Like they went to Bank of America and Bank of America turned them down. They went to SunTrust Bank, SunTrust turned them down. They came to me. That's the guy you want. Like that was the guy I wanted. I want him to have been turned down. I want to know he's in a fucking shitty position. So when I tell him my broker fee is $4,500 and I'm rolling it into your loan and your interest rate is 9% or you don't get the house, then you know what he says? I mean, all right. I mean, I don't have a choice. I've been turned down by 2 or 3 other places.
But to do it now.
Right. Exactly. Like you don't have to do it. You can stay in your apartment.
But he wants it that bad that.
Well, he wants it that bad. And then, sometimes they would always say, well, I'm not paying 9% interest. And you go, okay, well, then you can just keep paying 100% interest. What do you mean? I don't pay 100% interest. Oh, really? Isn't your rent 100% interest? You live in your apartment for 10 years and you sell it. Do you own it? Do you own any portion of it? 100% of everything you paid in is interest. It's all gone. So don't sit here and tell me that I don't want to pay 9%, but you're willing to pay 100%. 100%.
That's
right. And you're paying, you now own the house. You're building equity. The house is getting more valuable. All you're doing right now is paying your landlord's rent. You're paying your landlord rent and his house is becoming more and more valuable. And you're paying his mortgage.
You're building the equity up on the house for him.
I mean, he's what a fucking deal that is. So, my point is that I just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And at some point, the FBI shows up. They closed me down. They didn't close me down. They indicted me. A couple of people that I knew, they ended up getting busted. And then they wore a wire on me. And then, so now I know the FBI is interested in me. So I get a lawyer and I go to the FBI and I plead guilty to wire fraud. And so I get 3 years probation, but I can't run the mortgage company anymore. So I run it for like 3-4 years. And so now I can't run it. So I sell it to a guy who's like a CPA.
Okay.
And he's paying me like $8,000 a month to stay on as like a consultant. And in the meantime, I start a development company to start kind of developing an area and also to start flipping houses. So, but I didn't want, but flipping houses sucks.
Did you ever get to wholesaling with the houses? Or your dad was just never your field with wholesaling?
No, I didn't.
You just wanted to buy and flip, fix and flip.
I mean, I didn't want to do that, bro. I listen, I don't, what, I mean, that to me, that's a lot of work. Like, here's the problem. When you buy those houses in those areas, right? Like shitty areas. What area, where are you?
I'm in Houston right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's perfect. Like Houston,
I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, though. The houses in the bad areas, yeah.
Yeah. You can buy them for, you probably now they're going for 70 and 100,000. But back then they were going for, you get a shitty house, you get a house for 50 grand. It needed work.
Foreclosed or not foreclosed?
No, just I mean, sometimes they're foreclosures. Sometimes they're just somebody died. Sometimes it's just unlivable and somebody buys them. You go to like a wholesaler who's bought a bunch of houses and you say, look, I'll give you 60 grand for that house. And he says, okay. And you give him 60 grand. But the problem is now I got to dump 20 grand in the house. Now I got 80 grand in it. And I got to try and sell it for what? 100, 110, 120. What am I going to make? 20 grand? That's a lot. That's a lot of money to put out in the hope that I sell this house in a shitty area where most of the buyers are not good buyers. They're not good qualified customers. So what I did was I decided that the smartest move was to kind of just come up with the customers myself.
Right.
And make my own customers. So I started making synthetic identities. This was before anybody was making synthetic identities.
Is this the part where you start coming up with the crazy names like from the movies and stuff?
Yeah, Mr. Like Michael White and James Red, Brandon Green.
All colors and stuff.
Yeah, from Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he's a great producer and a great actor. Great.
So, yeah, there was a movie called The Usual. No, wait, was it? No, Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir
Dogs, yeah.
So, I started making these fake people. I figured out how to get Social Security to issue me Social Security numbers to kids people that don't exist, right? So I'd make a fake shot record and a fake birth certificate, and I'd go in and I'd say that my 10-year-old son, had just been born, and he was born with a midwife, and I'd give them the stuff, and they'd say, "Oh, okay." And they'd
just type it up.
10 days later, I got myself a Social Security number.
Easy as that.
Yeah.
Were people using CPNs back then?
I mean, no, they weren't. But no, but listen, all a CPN is, I know everybody's going to say, oh, no, they're this, they're that, they're this. But the truth is the CPNs are just like Social Security numbers that just haven't been issued.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe they've been issued, but they aren't being used. They're just because they'll eventually be issued. There's just a random number that isn't associated.
People born today, so.
Can you hold on? Somebody just rang the doorbell.
Sure.
Weird.
There you guys have it. Having a great conversation with Matt Cox. You hear what he's saying? Take notes of what he's saying. Take notes of the conversation we're having because you can very well gain a lot of information from this. So let's keep going.
Sorry about that. I didn't.
Oh, good.
So yeah, that was just so they were newly issued Social Security numbers, and I would get like 3 secured credit cards, and I'd make the payments, and in 6 months I had like 700 credit scores, and then I'd buy the houses in those names. So I'm buying the house in like James Red's name, and he would buy 5 houses.
Right.
But the problem with that then was that.
And this was where the appraiser comes in at, right?
Well, I mean, an appraiser, but the real problem is that the houses in that area are all selling for $75,000, right?
Right.
So what I need to do is I'm buying the houses for 50. So I need them to appraise higher.
Right.
Because right now, if I have this guy, James Red, buy a house and refinance it, what am I going to get out? 10 grand, 20 grand?
Nothing.
That's not fucking, that's way too much work.
Too much.
Even if you get the guy to buy 5 houses and refinance it 5 times, those houses, each one, maybe 100 grand. Like, I'm not doing this for 100 grand. So what I did was I would buy the houses and I would record the value of those houses for like $200,000. So I'm buying houses for 50,000 and I'm recording the value at 200, 210, 220. And you buy enough houses in an area, the whole area goes up. Doesn't matter that the houses haven't improved, but there's so many houses selling for, like, if everybody's
this amount of money is only going to be worth the value of the area is going to go because these houses are worth the same amount. So,
right. People start thinking their house is worth 80,000, 100, 110, 130. Oh my gosh, my house is worth 200,000. Those 2 houses over there just sold for 200,000. They didn't. I bought them for 40 and 50,000, but they don't know that.
Right.
And what happens is now they're worth that much. I clean up the outside. I ordered the appraisal software, or I have an appraiser friend of mine appraise the house and write down that it's worth 200,000 using real comparables, by the way, using real comps. So these are sales that really showed up in public record. So he's not worried because he's like, that house.
It seems like it's legitimate.
It looks very legitimate. It's not, but it looks that way. And so now when I get the appraisal, I've got a person with 720, 710 credit scores. I have an appraisal. I have a W-2 and a pay stub because they work for a company that I've created. All the phones are going to be answered correctly. I can provide the bank statements. I can provide all of the canceled checks. So now I've got this perfect person. I just have to refinance the house. I refinance the house. The bank lends me $180,000, $190,000, which I only have 50 in it. So I just made $140,000 after closing costs. I make a few payments. Each guy would buy 5 or 6 houses. So they borrow about $1 million. Then I'd go out and get credit cards at the same time. So I get about 30,000 in credit cards. I go get personal loans, another 20 or 30,000 in personal loans. So each guy made over $1 million. I'd pull that money out. I'd make a few payments on the properties and I'd let them go into foreclosure. Easy. And the banks never had any idea. They just got scammed.
Because it was all a perception game.
Yeah, well, the banks they'd get the house back, and even if they thought something doesn't seem right, if they ordered an appraisal, their own appraiser would say it's worth 210.
I mean, look at it. Wasn't you getting like fake pictures and stuff like that too?
No, I cleaned up the outside.
So when they came and just looked like it, but when the inside just looked, it was still bad.
Well, they're not going inside.
It's
all locked up. And if they do get inside, by the time they get inside, it's been 6 or 8 months. These are houses that are in the middle of an area that's infested with crime. So people break into those houses and they tear them apart. So by the time some real estate agent or it gets sold on the secondary market, the house has been gutted.
After so many months, there is already under the impression that somebody broke into it and terrorized it. So it's not your fault.
Right. So that went on for a few years. We borrowed $11.5 million. Out of
that 11.5, how much did you see?
I don't know. I don't think much. 4 or 5, maybe 6 million. I had other people that were involved.
And how fast did that go?
Well, I was buying real estate with it, and I'm not really a flashy person.
You're just flipping the money, trying to just keep.
Yeah, I'm buying real estate. I'm buying rental properties. I'm buying cars. I'm going on vacations. I'm not a flashy person. Like, if you gave me $1 million right now, honestly, I don't know, not that much about my life would change.
Yeah.
I'm just not a guy that's going to go buy a red Lamborghini and drive it around town. I mean, I'm just not. I might get like a Bronco or something. I don't know. It's about that.
New Bronco, those are nice.
I think
Lamborghini's too small. I don't like Lamborghinis. They too small. It's too flashy and they too low to the ground.
I'm not interested in anybody looking at me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like these guys that go and rob a bank and then lay all the money on a bed and take pictures and put it on and put it on
social media
Facebook.
and all
Yeah,
that.
like you should get an enhancement for that. You should get a little more time just for
Exactly.
stupidity.
Just stupid stuff like that. So what was your main goal with doing all this? Like, did you have a goal like I want to get this amount to invest in this, or was it just I'm living?
No, I mean, I figured I'd get at that time. I thought I was gonna, I was gonna build up this development company, and it would take off, and that's it. But before any of that really happened, because keep in mind, I was also building new houses.
Right.
So we're building new houses. We've got like over 100 vacant lots. We're putting up new houses all over the place. We're buying houses and bulldozing them. And while we're doing this, the FBI gets involved. Another buddy of mine gets pinched, and he works with a task force to come after me. So he doesn't want to go to jail. So they put together this task force, and they're coming to arrest me. And I have a buddy who's he's a Hillsborough County sheriff's deputy.
Right. Oh yeah, I remember this part right here. And didn't he like warn you or something?
Yeah. He comes to me and he goes, his name is Steve Sutton.
Yeah.
Steve comes to me. He doesn't work for the police anymore.
YouTube, he doesn't work for the police anymore.
No, he ended up. I don't think I don't know why he ended up. Like, I think a couple of years later, he just retired. He had a bunch of real estate. I'd gotten him like $1 million worth of real estate. So he came to me one day and he said, look, I used to date this chick on the Tampa Police Department. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, no, what's the big deal? Like, okay. He goes, yeah, she's on a task force. I'm like, right. He goes, and they're investigating you. And I went, what? He said, yeah. He said, they're going to come arrest you in a couple of days.
That's the best friend you ever had right there.
That's not like, that was a bad day, bro. So I just was like, holy shit. So
did any females ever get you in any bad situations?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been, there were girls that were involved. That whole investigation got started because of a girl that was running a scam, and she got in trouble because she changed her hair color the day before closing.
What happened with that situation? Let's talk about that. So a lot of people don't understand. A lot of things happen because you involve a female, and
I don't know that it has. I don't know. Look, she happened to be. Look, the other guy worked with the police. To bust me. So I mean, I don't know that it's because she's a female. I think it's just because she got caught. I think that women are the weak link a lot of times because they have children. Well, they have kids and they scare them, and they don't want to go to prison. They get scared and they have an out. So they, which is, whatever. I'm not worried about it. Listen, we're all fucking, you're a criminal. You're going to get, somebody's going to tell on you. Anybody who believes that, oh no, I'm not gonna, and he's not gonna, and we're friends.
Somebody is eventually going to tell on you.
Yeah.
So what was that situation
about? She had rented a house and was refinancing the house multiple times. And she went into a closing, and she had an ID that said her name was Rosita Perez, and she had black hair in the picture.
Right.
But the day before she went in, she got her hair dyed blonde.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, this is a white chick with blue eyes that looks like a white chick. So the Rosita Perez
was a Latino.
Yeah. And when she had black kind of wavy curly hair, she could kind of pull it off.
Yeah.
But you just got rid of the one thing that makes you look Latino.
Yeah. I don't know too many Latinos with that type of color hair.
With blondish brown hair and blue eyes? Like, that doesn't even make sense. So the chick, she signs the papers and the woman won't give her the check. Now, she did a closing earlier in the day and she got a check for like $100,000. She goes in to get the next closing to sign, and that woman says something's not right. She goes, this picture isn't you, but it was her. It was her. She just had different color hair. So because the title person mistakenly thought this is not you when it was her, she ends
up other stuff.
She ends up looking into it and she ends up calling a bunch of people, and she eventually figures out that the house that she was refinancing, she didn't actually own.
Mm.
That's a problem.
Big
Yeah. So that led to my buddy getting arrested because the one check she had, she gave to my buddy to put in the bank. I told her not to. I told him not to. They did it anyway. Um, and well, obviously, when this title person, they're called closing agents. When the closing agent called, she found the other mortgage, and she called that
Mm.
title company. That title company, they put a red flag on the check. So when my buddy deposited the check in his fake account, and he went into one day to the bank, they arrested him. So he cooperated, and that's how the task force got started. And then Steve Sutton, my buddy, who's the sheriff's deputy, came in and he said, "Listen, man, you he's like, bro, he said, you got to get out of here." Or he said, "Look, like you got to get out of here." But what he said was, "They're going to come arrest you."
Right.
So I don't want to be arrested. Right? I don't want to go to jail. So I took off on the run with this
How long
chick.
were you on the run for?
3 years.
During this time on the run, what did you do? Did you get like plastic surgery and stuff?
Yeah. I got 2 hair transplants. I got a nose job. I got a facelift. I had liposuction. I had my teeth done, like whitened. Um,
Yeah, I seen the before picture of you. Like, man, you look completely like different, like a whole different buff guy, just out here doing a whole different thing. But yeah, I seen those pictures before. So you really went to the extreme to really change your identity.
I mean, yeah,
Worth
because
it.
going to prison wasn't a part of the plan.
Was the pain worth it?
I mean, it. I mean, it was painful, but not as painful as prison.
So even though you still went, would you still knowing you still going to go? Would you still got the plastic surgery?
Yeah, of course.
Forget that. Huh? You just try to. Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm still vain. I mean, I was
Okay.
going, I was balding. Um, yeah, I was still done it.
I mean, the pictures from I seen you was fly back then. You was real fly. You know, a little longer hair, a little chubby, a little bit more weight. You know, looking real
Yeah.
cool. But
Well,
things happen. Okay, so what? How did you get caught?
um, so when I was on the run, I stole another like 3.5 million.
Okay, so you're on the run and you stole another 3 million.
Well,
Where were you?
it was really like 4.5, but I ended up getting it for 3.5. But what I did was I started buying houses, and then I would go down to public records and I would satisfy the mortgages on the houses.
Hmm.
So it looks like I don't own the house. I don't owe anything on the house. And then I'd go and I'd borrow 4 or 5 mortgages on the same house, like on the same day. So
So what? Like,
if a house is worth 200,000 and I go to Bank of America, Wells Fargo Bank, uh, you know, Washington Mutual, like I go to like 4 different banks and apply for loans and then schedule the closings within the same day. I can go to one closing at 9 o'clock, one at 11, one at 1, one at
because they
3.
haven't popped up right. They haven't popped up right. So it's still like you haven't applied for any yet.
Yeah, it's called lag time. It takes a couple of weeks for them to show up in public records. So I have a few weeks, but I usually close them within a day, maybe 2 days of each other. And then they all give me a check, and then I deposit the checks into a bunch of different accounts, and then I pull the money out in cash, and then I take off.
Easy
So
as that.
that worked out pretty well. By this point, I've got fake IDs. Like I've figured out how to go into the DMV and actually get the DMV to issue me driver's licenses in other people's names. So, I've got passports. I got like over almost, I think 24 passports. I had 27 driver's licenses.
How were you getting 27? How did you make the DMV give you IDs in other people's names?
Well, I started Well, I mean, I could get an ID in a name by making the fake birth certificate and the social security number. But if you couldn't get a driver's license doing that, and I don't know why, but I could always get a fake ID, just a regular ID. But if I wanted a driver's license, which I did because I'm driving, I would survey homeless people and I would order their birth certificate and their social security card and their, let's say, high school transcripts. I would get a like a lease agreement in their name, or I would register to vote and I get a voter's registration card. And then I go into a state DMV where they had never had a license. So I go, if I met them in South Carolina, I go to North Carolina, or I go to Florida, or I go to Alabama.
Okay.
And then they would issue me a driver's license. I'd have to take the driving test. Sometimes I'd have to take the written test and the driving test. Sometimes it was just the written test. Sometimes they had a valid ID and I just get the ID, which didn't happen a lot. I took a lot of driving tests.
So your picture would be on the ID?
It's mine. Yeah, I walked in the DMV. It's my picture. I mean, it says Walter Holcomb, or it says Joseph Carter, or
it says somebody else's, but you will be on the ID. So it's like you're that person.
Yeah. So if I get pulled over by the cops, boom, I give Michael Eckert. My name's Michael Eckert, and I'm not stupid. I mean, if I'm driving a car in the name of Michael Eckert. Like I buy a car as Michael Eckert. I get full coverage insurance as Michael Eckert. I've got a driver's license as Michael Eckert. I got credit cards, the whole nine yards. Because let's face it, this guy's homeless. He's not going to figure out that I've hijacked his fucking ID.
They can't even contact him to let him know if something's going on.
Right.
You are the number they have to contact.
Right. And what's he going to do? How's he going to fucking unravel it and call the police and figure it out? Like, what's he going to say? You know, he can barely feed himself. So, I mean, he's got enough problems going on. So, yeah, I would get that. And then I'd buy houses in their names and refinance them. I borrowed like $1.3 million in a homeless guy's ID one time.
1.3.
1.3. It's not a bad lick.
Would you do like build the credit up on this guy or something? Like
no, I didn't have to. I bought a house that was going for 130. It was worth 100.
Oh, because you already had the cash. So long as you got the cash, you can do whatever you want.
No, I didn't even do that. I got the people to owner finance the house. After they owner financed, I gave them like 20 grand down, 25 grand down. They owner finance it. So I owe them 200,000, right? I then go downtown 2 weeks later, and I satisfy their mortgage on the house. So now I own the house with no mortgage on it in my name. Free and clear. Well, not Matt Cox, but as Gary Sullivan in his name. I then turn around and I go to a bunch of different banks, and they're like, look, you don't have good credit at all. You have no credit at all, Mr. Sullivan. So we can only lend you $195,000 on this $230,000. And I go,
cool with me.
Well, all right. But if you go to 5 or 6 different ones and you borrow 1.3 million, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think about it. Even if I had good credit, they were only going to lend me 130, or I'm sorry, 230.
You could have got a little more with good credit.
What, more on a $230,000 house? You're going to get to buy maybe 100% finance. But I wasn't. I was getting like 90%, 85 and 90%. So it was like 180, 190. But I'm borrowing 5 mortgages. So 5, 6, 7 mortgages. Anyway, what happened then?
You literally just got used to borrowing mortgages. Like it became a natural routine for you, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, I own the mortgage company, so I know what they're looking for. I know what they want. When I walk in and I apply for a loan, I already know what they want from me. So
I get it.
Yeah, I got this. I fill out the application. Perfect. I got everything here. Oh, did you need my W-2? Boom. You need that last year's? Yeah. Boom. You need the one before that? Yeah. Boom. You need last 2 years or last 2 pay stubs? Here. Oh, by the way, I didn't know if you needed this or not, but I have my last 3 bank statements. Oh, also wanted to let you know I have this too, and I have that, and I have this, and are we all done? And they go, well, you have just been the best customer to work with. Oh, well, thank you.
I love those customers who got their stuff together. It's fast for anything.
And then that's it. They pull the credit, 700 and some odd credit scores. Used to only need a 620. Now it was 650. What does it matter? I still had 700. So yeah, so that would be it. I even if I didn't have credit at all, they'd say, okay, well, we can't lend you 100% financing. We can lend you 80% or 85. Okay,
So
I'll
like
take it.
85% out of 200 is probably 160,
Mm. No,
something like
because
that.
it's not that though. Think about it. It's actually it's a house that's worth $230,000 times 0.85. It's $195,000. That's 85%. So how many of those can I borrow? If I borrow, 6 of those or 7 of those, I got a couple million. I
And
mean,
you just reinvest it.
I got over $1 million.
And you would just reinvest it.
Yeah, you pull it out. I mean, at this point, I'm on the run, so I'm really
Yeah.
just spending the money. I'm going
Oh,
on
now you spending
vacation.
the money. Now you
Yeah,
just getting all the free time you can.
yeah, but after 3 years, I get caught. I get arrested.
Did you ever go overseas or anything?
Yeah, I went to while I was on the run. I went to well, I mean, I went to Jamaica. I've been to Bermuda. I went
Did you go to
to
the Triangle?
Italy. I went to Croatia. Where?
Did you hit the Bermuda Triangle? Did
No.
you get in the water?
Well, that Bermuda is near. It's near the Bermuda Triangle.
You
I
weren't
went
messing with
to
that.
Mexico. Where else? Yeah, bro. I mean, I traveled.
You had a nice little overseas tour, huh?
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? It's not fraud's not a full-time job. Got to do something. So yeah, eventually I'm dating this girl. We're living together, and we start seeing another girl. And the chick that I had originally taken off with, she had gotten caught. We broke
Right.
up, and she went her own separate ways, and she got caught. And so she started, they start looking for me with her, with her help. And so I'm in a bunch of magazines, there's a bunch of articles, and then Dateline NBC News, Dateline,
Yeah.
they were going to do like a 1 hour special on me. So I was going to leave the country and uh, go to Australia.
Right.
And while I was pulling out money and I was cashing checks and getting more and more of the money out of the bank, my girlfriend ends up confiding in her friend who I am. And she contacts the Secret Service, and a couple days later, they arrest me.
So I have a question. If you had an offshore account with money in that, would they be able to seize that too?
Yeah.
They could just take everything, huh? But restitution and all that.
I mean, even if they can't seize it, they're going to freeze it, and then they just have to prove to the other. They just have to prove to the governing body of that bank that it's fraudulent funds. Like, especially once I'm convicted, it's
Right.
money from a fraud. Send it back to us. They're going to take it.
So you did 3 years
On the run.
only run. How long did you do in federal prison?
13 years.
13 whole long years. And now you're out, now you're free, and now you're on a new journey. And a lot of people don't understand. Like you're like you said, you want to write stories. You're a great painter, and you do the YouTube thing. And now you're trying something new. So, do you drop videos on YouTube?
I mean,
Talking,
yeah,
telling
I have
different stories and things like that.
I have a YouTube channel.
What's your YouTube channel?
It's
For the people who from my channel who don't know your YouTube channel, so they can go follow you, and I also put it under your what's name right there. You can let them know your Instagram page, your pop art page, your Instagram page, because he has a lot of great art. I seen his art and it blew my mind away. I'm gonna buy a Snoop Dogg from him because everybody tell me I look like Snoop Dogg. So once I seen that, it kind of blew. It kind of like because you told me like, YouTube doesn't kick in that much, but how many videos do you drop? Like, are you comfortable with talking about your past, about certain situations, and like in the penitentiary and showing off your art? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, what you showed me and what you have, the content that you have, you could be a very big person on YouTube.
Yeah,
You just gotta
I mean, I've got my channel's got like 50,000 subscribers. It's Matt Cox, Inside True Crime.
make sure you go
And
follow that.
basically all I do is well, not all I do, but I interview other criminals, and sometimes I do videos with, I do videos with other guys that have been in jail. And that's, that's pretty much that channel. I do that channel, and I have a second channel, which is called Inside the Darkness.
Mm-hmm. What's that channel
Um,
about?
it's basically, have you ever seen Soft White Underbelly?
Sure have.
So, I was on Soft White Underbelly,
Yeah, I
right?
was about to ask you, wasn't you on there? Okay.
And I met Mark, right? So, obviously Mark's there, he runs the whole thing himself. So, really nice guy, and so I like the concept of just sitting somebody on a stool and saying, tell your story. So what happens is, like, if I get some bank robber, somebody to come here and do a podcast with me, then when they're done, like, getting them to you is the hardest part, right?
Right.
So I say, look, you're here. Do you want to go upstairs? And I have a room upstairs where it's all blacked out with curtains, right? Like, well, it's actually black sheets all the way around the room. And it's on the ground. And I have a stool. And I'm like, look, I'm just going to turn on two cameras, turn on the lights. And you just tell me, say whatever you want. Like, tell your story. We just went over it. Just go over it again. But that way it doesn't have anything to do with me. Because
that's just something else that you want to.
Right. It bothers me sometimes, like, these guys will tell their stories.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you start getting into the story, and then they say something, you go, oh my God, I remember one time. And then we start talking, and then we get back to their story. But sometimes it ends up being about me too. Like, we're interacting, and I feel like they have their own story.
Right.
Like, they should have nothing to do with me. Even when you're interviewing, even when Joe Rogan is interviewing somebody, that interview is as much about Joe Rogan just because he's a personality.
Right.
Where that guy's got his own story, and he needs to be able to tell it himself. So once I've kind of talked to the guy, and we now know your story, we've really looked into it, you can tell it yourself. Because some people can't. So what I do is I put them up there and I let them talk, and I close the door. Listen, guys, like, you'd be shocked. Like, when nobody's there and they're just talking to the cameras,
you'll be surprised what comes out. And that's
Great.
what I be trying to tell a lot of people. Like, a lot of people ask me, how do you do YouTube? How do you do YouTube? But they worry about the wrong things. I say, listen, in order for you to really push out what you want to push out, go into the car by yourself, go into a room by yourself when nobody's around, put the camera in your face and just let it out. Because you're not gonna have that impression or that pressure that somebody's gonna be judging you, or you're embarrassed to say this around that person, or you don't want anybody to know this about you. But when it's just you got nothing but.
Anybody who starts judging you, it isn't worth a shit to begin with.
Exactly.
So, you see what I'm saying?
Nobody's perfect. Everybody has their own problems.
Right. Anybody out there saying, "Oh, you don't agree. I don't agree with this, and I don't agree with that, and you're this and you're that," that's their problem. Like, I talk about just everything. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like, I'm not concerned at all. So these guys go in that room and they do it. And so I started a whole new channel just with them. And then what I'll do is I make shorts. Mm-hmm. So they'll be a 2-hour interview with just them. And then I'll take pieces of it and I turn it into little 1-minute shorts. And I do B-roll, and I cut it up and I put them out there. And so there's shorts on the channel. So it's usually like the video and then several shorts about that video. So every video has 3 or 4 shorts that associated with it. And then the hour or 2-hour video where the person just got up there and started talking.
Do you look for certain people or whoever has a story to tell?
Look, if somebody said, hey man, I got arrested twice for fucking drugs and I'd like to come up and my story, it'll only take me 20 minutes. I'd be like, yeah, come on. I don't have a problem with that. But I mean, if I personally, what I'm interested in really looking for is something that's, unique.
Right.
Some guy who sells drugs, a low-level drug dealer. I mean, man, they're everywhere. And I'm not saying they don't have a story. I'm saying that it's common. So I look for unique stories.
Exactly. The uncommon stories are the best stories because it's something new. It's something that somebody can listen to. That we hear all this all day. This is something new. So what is this about?
Or somebody who's done something normal in an uncommon way. Right. Like you could be a low-level drug dealer, but if you had something unique, like the way you were doing it was different, then that's interesting. Like, I don't care if it's drugs. I got lots of drug stories.
The most unique things are the best things because it's different.
Yeah, I just want to hear something different, something that makes me go, "Wow, I
That's
hadn't
how
heard
the
that
same way.
before."
That's the same way I am. So first of all, I want to say thank you for allowing me to interview you. Thank you for being the first guest on the Call It What You Want to Call It podcast show. I really appreciate it. We're definitely going to stay in tune. You're in Tampa, right?
Yeah,
So I'm scared of the monkeypox thing. That's the only reason why me and my cameraman didn't come there. But
no idea.
eventually, I got to come to Miami and stuff like that. So if I come there, if I can get the chance to tell my story on your channel, because we all have a story. We all have something that we came from and we all elevated from that. That we can tell our story. So if I can have that opportunity, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'm definitely getting the Snoop Dogg picture from you. I'm just waiting for my assistant to shoot over the Cash App and let me know where she want me to send it to, and we're gonna keep it going. So I very thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. I want everybody on my YouTube channel to go make sure you go follow Matt Cox on Instagram. Let them know your Instagrams again.
I mean, it's Matt Cox, Inside True Crime, and the second channel is called Inside the Darkness.
Inside the Darkness. So Matt Cox, Inside the Darkness. Make sure y'all go follow those YouTube channels. Make sure y'all subscribe to all notification bells whenever he drops new videos, new entertainment, all that. You guys will be the first one to be notified. You guys will be the first ones going on. Hey, you never know. He might give you some. I don't know. So make sure you go follow him right now. It's your boy King Hussle. First episode of Call It What You Want to Call It podcast. And I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace.